such a long season, such a grind, but this is the first time that we've had a break like this in the middle. How nice was it for you to get like a proper week and a half, 2 weeks off?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, if you got it, like the season, it seems like it's so unforgiving with like your time and even just in your personal life, things pile up that you want to try and do, and you never seem to have time to sort of accomplish things outside of hockey. So um, I've enjoyed watching the Four Nations and watching our guys doing that and getting some, time to sort of get caught up and work things, and then also get some personal things done and get some rest and relaxation for, it should be an exciting, finish push here, and hopefully we get the seed that we want and get in the playoffs and extend our season.
Was that break for you literally like final buzzer of that last game to yesterday? Were there like days in between where you started to like plug back into work? Like how long is a break?
Yeah, like I picked at some work and some things that I wanted to like analyze and look at, a little video, and just kind of just like doing some research on some things that I wanted to look at. But really, yesterday, first day of work, like kind of getting the mind back into like practice is the plan for today, tomorrow, the next day, trying to get ready for the Nashville St. Louis game. So everything else besides that was just me sort of picking at stuff that I wanted to look at.
Are we still planning on Matushkin being back for games?
Don't know. I don't know which games, like if he'll be back for Nashville, St. Louis, or if it'll be Jersey. I don't have the answer to that just yet. We'll find out a little bit more after we see him the next few days.
Is that going to determine if he even goes on the trip at all?
Yeah, like it's too early games, so I mean, if he's not playing, he's not going to come on the trip because it's like we don't even have pregame skates.
There's a few other guys missing: Manson, Gerard.
Yeah, Manson won't. I don't think he'll be ready to play after the break. Still dealing with his injury from before. I mean, it's been a couple weeks now, so hopefully he's getting close to getting back on the ice, but he's not back on the ice yet. G and OC are maintenance. Who else? Is that it? I think that's it for today, right? Lekkonen's back in town. He'll join the team tomorrow. Yep.
Would you mind describing your approach as a coach for the 25-game stretch here? Like, how do you attack this?
Well, like we had a nice little push going into the break. Challenged our team to like really tighten up on some things defensively. We wanted to make sure that we got a little bit more dangerous on the offensive side of it, and we did, and we played well, and we got the results we wanted. Now we need to like sort of take that same approach and sort of extend it over the next 25 games. Like we finished our last 8 games near the top of the league in expected goals for and in expected goals against, right? And we were 5-3. So like I like the way those numbers are trending. Now I need to see that for the next 25 games. So like the eye test has to match the analytics. Like you got to be as stingy as you think you are. You got to be as dangerous offensively as you can possibly be and want to be, because these next 25 games is what you're going to carry into the playoffs. And again, we still haven't seen our full team. Now we could come out of this break with still no Nichushkin, no Manson, etc. We'll see. So we got to get our team together and get some things sorted out before playoffs.
Last season, going into the deadline, you guys brought in a bunch of new guys, but the only name that went out was just the one. It was Bowen Byram, I believe. This year, you've already had a few names go out. You just had Mikko Rantanen go out. It kind of seems like there's a lot of speculation on several names on the roster. Is it hard to kind of like put this roster together when you have 5 or 6 games and then it might look completely different? There might be new names in. Like, how do you handle?
Yeah, I don't. I just worry about Nashville game. That's it. I mean, especially if you're looking at like our man games lost injury, I have no idea who's playing. Come St. Louis even. Like I just don't. And that's been sort of the norm. I've always kind of had that mindset that I'm going to worry about the 20 guys that are playing tonight and then the 20 guys that are playing tomorrow. And because I can't, with our injuries over the last couple of years, I couldn't tell you who's in or out and who's going to be playing come the trade deadline or after it or playoffs or if we're even getting in, because like I can't control it. It's 250 man games lost already this year, and last year, or like it's crazy numbers. So it's 4 guys out every night the whole year, if not more. So I have to live in the moment and worry about the guys that can play, not the guys that can't.
We talked about how important it was and how helpful it was for the guys to have the time off to kind of regroup physically. How important is it for them to have been able to kind of have that mental break as well?
Well, I think it's equally as important. Yeah, I think and for some guys more important. Like if you're, I'd say the season wears on guys in different ways, right? Like we use some guys a lot and tax them a lot. The physical, rest would be really nice for some of those guys. For some guys that are, grinding to sort of find their place on our team and hit their stride with their team. Like if it's not going well, that could be a grind. If you're a guy that's like wired, like you're always like have an intensity to your game, the mental break I think is nice. So I think it's just different for each guy, but I think both are probably equally as important. To kind of get reset and ready to go and excited about the stretch run here, I think is important, and to be feeling good physically is equally as important.
Two-part question for you. Just what have you thought of the intensity at Four Nations with the U.S.-Canada game? There's 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Yeah.
What have you thought of that? And then do you think that coming down the home stretch here, that can be good for your guys who are coming back, having to ramp it up to that level of intensity right now?
So I've loved the intensity in the tournament. I think it's been a great tournament so far, and I would hope that our guys are playing with that intensity like through most of the regular season. It's hard to do it every game for 82 games, but the games matter and they know that, so they play for keeps. It's gonna have to it takes another step when it comes to playoffs and in some important games down the stretch run. Like there's no question intensity gets up, the physicality, and it gets like there's less time and space to be able to move as the season goes on. And coming out of this break, I'm sure every team in the league is going to start like really honing in on things as we do. So games are going to get more difficult. So it's not going to hurt them to play, intense games and physical games. And I'm glad they get to play best on best and play for their country at this time of the year. It's been great to watch.
Colton called opening with back-to-back road games criminal. How do you approach these next 2 games?
Yeah, it's crazy, but half the league's playing back-to-back. St. Louis is playing back-to-back. So if you're going to go play, at least we're like in the equal, it's a level playing field. St. Louis plays the night before at home, and then, they're at home, but I guess once you're on the road, you're on the road. You have to play the game someplace, and back-to-back, at least we're playing a team that's also in the same situation.
You mentioned the full team thing. It's the million-dollar question again. One, how is Gabe? And then I'm curious how Gabe is, how that affects trade deadline thinking, roster thinking, etc. as you head into that final stretch.
Yeah, I think so. That no change really, or nothing new to report on Gabe's situation, but I'm sure that does have an effect on our thinking, going into the deadline and what ads that we could make or that we would pursue. I try to stay out of most of that stuff and coach the team. So, it's not really my question, but I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Going back to that Edmonton game, I think it was 3 face-offs in the last 65 seconds. Drury went out there and won them all.
Yeah.
How nice, it was an adjustment, I think, his face-offs coming here, but how nice is it to have a guy like that?
It's important because at the end of the Calgary game too, I think he won some big ones for us. So, I mean, it gives us more options for guys that we can put out in different key situations, especially on the defensive side of it. He's a solid checking player. He's really in tune with both the penalty kill, the 5-on-5 D zone responsibilities. So when you're protecting leads, he's a guy I like to be able to use, and his ability in the face-off circle and his commitment to that area of the game and how good he's been over the course of time in the league, I think is something that we could use. So he's a big ad for us.
His first practice back, Wedgwood, his first practice back
Yeah.
after his upper body injury. He gets in, goes down. Blackwood takes a shot up high and is out
Yeah.
for a little bit. Are you holding your breath there?
A little bit, yeah. Well, when I went down, because you just look over your shoulder, I said, well, like, you see the goalie down and he's like in obvious pain and discomfort, and you're thinking the worst right away, like, was it a groin? What? And he got hit in the jewels, and I was like, oh, thank God. I'm sure he didn't want to hear that, but I was like, yes, good. See you back out here in a few minutes, because it's better than like some groin injury or something, right? So yeah, we dodged a bullet there, but Parks got hit and cut open, but guys getting back in the groove of things today,
Kind of along those lines, how hard is it to restart what you were doing before the break? You talked about where you were and playing kind of the right way at the end there.
Yeah, it depends on the group. We're gonna find out. But like our messaging already, like yesterday, they were able to come in for an optional because I wanted them to like get back into it a little bit themselves. I was in for a lot of the day trying to get myself like mentally back into it and lay out a specific plan for what I want to see, and then it's just relaying that message to them and staying consistent with it over the next handful of days, and then we hit the ground running with Nashville, St. Louis, and we're just going to try and keep getting better every day. Like, we've got some improving to do as a team from here to the end of the season to be where we want to be and to be the team that we want to be come the right time of year. So like we have to, there's not a lot of time left, right? 7 weeks, 25 games, busy schedule. We have a nice homestand, and we go on the road for a busy March. I think it's going to be a good challenge for us, but we have to stay focused and dialed in and prepared on all the things that we want to accomplish here over the next 7 weeks.
Coach, you got a prediction for the game tomorrow?
Yeah, Canada by 1.
You said it's only like 7 weeks of playing better games. Regardless, the salary cap is obviously a huge part of it, but is there a point where you just have to like get with Gabe and say we have to switch into like last year mode where we'll try in the playoffs, but can't? Like,
well, yeah.
I mean, he's got to practice and all that, but like, just there's going to be a point where you just can't say like, yeah, we got to wait. Right? If he just can't play.
Yeah, I mean that'll be up to like Gabe and our medical team, like when or if he's going to be able to come back, And then I mean, there's only 7 weeks left, so I mean, he's working hard. He's still trying to get better and get to a spot where he thinks he can play, and we'll see if he's able to accomplish that in the regular season, or if it's going to take till playoffs, or if we're going to have to go a certain length of time in the playoffs to get him back, or even if he's going to be able to get back this year. I don't know. Like it's just kind of wait and see and keep putting in the work, and yeah, we're hoping for the best.